Hello, it's Davey Mooney, coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. I'm a Benedetto artist. Sunnyside Records, y'all. Cranking them out. Got The Word, it's the most recent. Way Back, Live at National Sawdust, Hope of Home, Benign Strangers, Perrier Street. 6 of those bad boys. I've got 3 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, Into the Labyrinth, and the brand new How to Achieve Great Jazz Phrasing. And let's see, it's sort of late-ish January here at UNT, Denton, Texas. We're getting ready for snowpocalypse. Usually snows about once a year, and everyone panics. But that's tomorrow. Today, I want to talk to you about the very famous and played constantly Tom Jobim song, Wave. And this is definitely, I swear, every time I do like a 3-hour steakhouse gig or something like that, I end up playing this tune. I probably play it more than any other Tom Jobim song. Maybe Triste I play a lot, Ipanema, but this one is definitely up there. Really cool tune, very sophisticated. It's got a cool diminished chord that I'll talk about in a second. So I was doing a little internet research about when it was written. I believe it was first recorded by Sergio Mendes in 1967 on an album called Equinox. And apparently Jobim wrote the English lyrics too. I don't actually know if there's Portuguese lyrics, but then he recorded it again. He has the record, Jobim himself has the record Wave in 67. And there's also the Sinatra Jobim album, 67, where Sinatra sings it. The Sergio Mendes is interesting, they're in E flat, and Sinatra's in E flat too. Whereas the Tom Jobim recording with the Klaus Ogerman, actually Klaus Ogerman is doing the arrangements on the Sinatra record as well. But that Jobim solo outing, they play it in D. And I feel like most people play it in D. And it does start with that kind of D minor to G7 sort of vamp that we hear a lot. I'll sort of go through the harmony. So when the song starts, you got, I find, I hear people mess that opening of the melody up a lot, which is interesting. A lot of the times, students on their their auditions will go like, I'll hear this a lot, or I don't know. First note is B, y'all. So you got a D major, then a B diminished, A minor, D7, G major, G minor, then like F sharp 13, F sharp flat 13, B9, B7 flat 9, E sus or E9, then B flat 7, A7, D minor G7, D minor G7, that's the A section repeats, B flat diminished, A minor, D7, G major, G minor, F sharp 13, F sharp flat 13, this little moving line that Jobim likes to do a lot. B flat 13, A7, B minor, G7. And you know, the original real book where I learned this song, I confess, y'all, I confess every episode of this, is this episode? Every installment of this improv talk tune dissection series that I've been doing for about 5 years now, I confess to my my sins regarding the real book. I learned a lot of songs from that original real book, and I believe the bridge that they gave you in that original real book was like a 2-5 for the bridge, 2-5 to F, and then 2-5 to E flat, to A7. It's that short bridge, kind of like what's it called? Meditation does. I should probably talk about that song at some point. Meditation has the long A's and then the shorter bridge. I think 16 for the A's and 8 for the bridge. And I'm just going to go with that. I'm not even going to go back and think about the length because I think that's right. But if you go to pretty much all of the recorded versions, it's that same harmony, but the idea is like kind of the first chord is like a C sus, The second chord is kind of C7 over B flat, and the third chord would be like F over A, and then the same thing on the next chord. Like B flat sus, B flat 7 over A flat, and what do you call it? E flat major over G. Kind of reminds me, I can't hear a Tom Jobim song with this chord in it and not think, Waters of March, which would come a few years later. But for playing purposes, it's a 2-5 to F major and a 2-5 to E flat major. A7 last day, same thing. E minor. G minor. And then some people like to extend this last part. I kind of like to do that, although the recordings don't really do that. And that's the top of the tune. So really nice song, nice melody, nice harmony and all that. So for playing on it, improvising purposes, it's in the key of D, so you got a D major chord, then the B flat diminished. And this is where it kind of gets interesting because, we've talked about diminished chords a lot in this series. And this one really hangs you out there. You got to have a game plan for this chord. There's not really any way to avoid it or hide from it. So the panic option is kind of out. You might panic anyway, but it's not going to help you. So you could, of course, the melody itself kind of has that arpeggio, right? Just a diminished 7 arpeggio with a little slide into the G. So you could kind of think, well, okay, I could just arpeggiate, I could do a half whole diminished scale, that'd probably be fine. Some diminished pattern, that's always a good option, or a decent option. I don't know, because it stays out there for a whole measure right at the beginning of the tune. This is one where I really want to sort of integrate it into my playing and my improvising in a more melodic way. So I think in terms of what dominant 7 chord is it sitting in for? A lot of the time with these diminished, I think of them as 5 of 3. I talk about that a lot, especially when it's like the flat 3 diminished. And this one's kind of tricky because, okay, it's B flat diminished, and then you do go down to A minor, D7, G. So you might think, well, okay, that's a flat 3 diminished in the key of G. And it does what a lot of those songs do. And if the first chord were B minor, I think you might have some a case for that. But to me, this is one of those interesting instances where, to me, it's actually like kind of A7, A13 flat 9 with the flat 9 in the bass. And I think if you were forced to come up with a chord scale, like maybe if you were in jazz school and you had to teach this tune from that with that lens, I think it's like D harmonic major, y'all. And I think my good friend Tim Collins, great vibraphone player, shout out to Tim Collins. I think he talked about this in a video a few weeks back about how this is a good harmonic major option. And it's one of those things where, okay, if it were 5 of 3 in the key of G, so if it were 5 of B minor, I might say B harmonic minor versus D harmonic major. And if you look at it, it's very close. So D harmonic major, D, E, F sharp, G, A sharp, C sharp, D. If you start on a B, have a B. My bad. So yeah, so that's D harmonic major. So scratch that from the record about starting on a B. That's D harmonic major. B harmonic minor, the only difference is you have a B natural instead of an A natural. So it's kind of like, do you want that note in there? To me, melodically, that note is kind of in there. It's very closely related, y'all, but that's kind of what I would be going with. It's D harmonic major and B harmonic minor are like one note different, you know. That's the harmonic major option. That's the harmonic minor option. And in both cases it goes to A minor, so there's not really a 5-1 sort of functionality happening. So that's where I'm at these days with that that chord. But then again, that doesn't mean that I'm going to play all the notes of that scale anyway and make it sound real kind of corny and jazz school in a bad way. You can be jazz school in a good way. I'm going to introduce that concept here. You heard it here first, y'all. Jazz school does not always have to be an epithet. It could be something positive, like you went to jazz school and you studied these tunes like a lot and you really know how they work. So then going on 2-5 to G, right? G major, G minor. Usually something like that would maybe go back to 1, like 4 major, 4 minor in the key of D, but instead of that it goes like 3, 6. But the 3 and the 6 are both dominants, and they have, at least on the head, that moving line that Tom Jobim likes to do a lot of, like 13, flat 13, 9, flat 9. He does that in Inútil Paisagem, If You Never Come to Me, a lot of songs. So you can think of it as a, I don't know if you want to necessarily like track all those, that moving line in the upper extension, but you could think like F sharp dominant, probably with a flat 9 to B flat, I'm sorry, B dominant, maybe with a flat 9 as well, to E7. Sometimes I will think of the F sharp chord at least as kind of like a minor 7 flat 5, just for playing purposes, because again it's so close and I have a lot more kind of slick and snazzy stuff I can play over F sharp minor 7 flat 5 than over the F sharp 7 altered. Although I don't know, I'd have to listen back and on the I'm going to play on this song in a minute and see what I did, but sometimes I'll treat it more like a 2-5, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7, E7. And then the E7 goes by pretty fast. You could make it Mixolydian. You could probably make it Lydian dominant, right? So either like, what is that, A major or B melodic minor, or just kind of play off of the arpeggio with some chromaticism. Chromaticism is your friend, and then that sort of 2-5 back to D is B flat 7, A7, D minor. So real bluesy. Sometimes in that context, I think of like the B flat 7 as like really coming from like a D blues scale. Even if you think of that B flat 7 as being like Lydian dominant, F melodic minor, pretty close to D blues, right? It shares a lot of notes with a D blues scale. And then A7, any kind of alter thing or whatever you want to do. Harmonic minor maybe to go back to D minor, because to go to D minor because the A sections end on D minor G7 thing for 2 bars. Then repeats again. There's that harmonic major sound. Actually, if you make the G minor before the F sharp 7 be like G melodic minor, you can kind of just stay on G melodic minor for the F sharp chord, right? Because that's F sharp super Locrian, correct? You did go to jazz school. And then you could switch it up for the B7, any flavor you want. You could keep it melodic minor, you could do C melodic minor. Then you can go B melodic minor, F melodic minor, B flat melodic minor, D melodic minor. But that might set off an alarm somewhere, fire alarm for too many melodic minor applications in one 8-bar section. I don't know if that's a thing. It didn't used to be. It might be now. Let's see. So then the bridge, really pretty straightforward. 2-5 to F, 2-5 to E flat, A7 D. So I think if there's tricky parts to the song, it's like what to do with that B flat diminished that you can't hide from, and then maybe like the F sharp 7, B7. What do I want to do to get the right flavor of that, but not really overdo it necessarily with the moving lines? So I think that about covers it. And yeah, it's a great song, y'all. It's definitely very gig friendly, and it's something I think you kind of have to know this one. At least in 2026, when I go do gigs, it gets called quite a lot to fit into the sort of like bossa nova slot in a set. So anyway, I'm going to play a couple choruses on it with the track, and I hope you enjoy it. Tom Jobim's Wave.